the movie starts showing Nick Carraway, the narrator of the story. Nick was talking to the doctor about his childhood memory of his father, that how he used to convince him to be optimistic and kind to everyone. But now the situation is different because he has become so negative that feels anger towards everyone. He hates everybody in this world. There is the only man who has escaped from his hatred, and that is Jay Gatsby. Doctor asked Nick to narrate his story from the start. Nick told Doctor how due to Gatsby his life was changed in 1922. Then after asking the doctor, he starts writing his story on paper. The movie goes into a flashback from here. Nick Carraway described how he went to live on the Long Island near New York City to spend his holidays alone while reading books. There were the mansions of the rich people near a small rented house of Nick. The strange thing about this place was that people were becoming rich in one night. This aspect was attracting the young people, and they were moving here due to curiosity and amazement. Nick was also one of them. Before arriving here, Nick was a writer. Nick suspected that someone was spying on him from the mansion nearby him. Soon he received an invitation to the party from Jay Gatsby. At the party, Nick was inquiring to everyone about Gatsby. Then one of the waiters informed him that Gatsby is the owner of this mansion. This party is organized by him, and he has also invited Nick. He was further told that he is the only one who has been personally invited by Jay Gatsby himself. Therefore, Nick starts looking for Gatsby there. However, nobody exactly knew who is Gatsby. According to a few people, he is a robber. For some, he is an evil man. Nick noticed that at the party there were wealthy people, including officers, business owners, celebrities, and film producers. Suddenly, Nick was attracted to a beautiful woman named Jordan Baker. She told Nick that she has met Gatsby many times. Nick suddenly remembered that he has met Jordan at Daisy's house, his cousin. Daisy's husband belongs to an honorable family. It was Daisy's house he met Jordan the first time. Jordan tried to tell something about Gatsby to Nick, but he couldn't hear because of the noisy party. Suddenly, she disappeared in the rush. In the next moment, Nick met a man who introduced himself as Gatsby. It was a mesmerizing and surprising moment for Nick, and he found himself lost in his smile of Gatsby. To him, Gatsby was different from what he has expected. He has a wide and attractive smile with a charming personality. This was beyond Nick's expectations because Nick imagined him as an old man. This meeting was the beginning of Nick and Gatsby's friendship. Soon they become best friends. According to Nick, everything was normal, but he couldn't perceive that Gatsby's intention was something else. The next day, Gatsby rides Nick in his new car to attend a party. On the way, Gatsby told Nick much more about himself and his background. He told him that he belonged to a rich and well-known family because of the unexpected and sudden deaths of all the family members. He became the only heir of all the property and becomes a millionaire. He further told him that he has studied at Oxford University, and to prove it, he showed him his group photograph captured at Oxford. He also excitedly told him that he had also joined the military and served in World War I. Perceiving Nick as suspected, he showed him his military badge too. Gatsby stopped his car in front of the barbershop, but in the basement of the barbershop, there was a club. At the club, Gatsby introduced Nick to a Mayor Wolfsheim. He told Nick that Mr. Wolfsheim is a renowned gambler in the city. However, Wolfsheim played a significant role in the film. At the same time, Nick saw Tom and introduced him to Gatsby. While Nick was talking with Tom, Gatsby disappeared from there. Later, Nick also met with Jordan Baker at the same party in the club. Jordan told Nick that Gatsby and Daisy were lovers. After Gatsby left, Daisy married Tom. Now he wants to meet Daisy again, and this was the purpose that he becomes your friend. She also told that now it is a demand of Gatsby from you to arrange a tea party at your home for Daisy and also invite Gatsby. Nick becomes suspicious and replied that he will think about it. In the next scene, Nick invited Daisy to his house and informed Gatsby about it. The next day, when Daisy was coming, Gatsby comes to Nick's house before time and waited long for her. At first, he was very excited, but when she arrived, he becomes nervous and hides. Though, Nick encouraged Gatsby to meet and talk to Daisy. Both become very excited and start talking with each other. They didn't realize how time passed. Gatsby took Daisy to his house and shows her everything about his house, and she becomes fascinated after watching his mansion. Both frequently start dating each other. Gatsby asks Daisy to leave her husband and get married to him, but Daisy doesn't have that courage. Gatsby throws a grand party at his home, and he also invites Daisy with her husband Tom. However, Tom becomes suspicious about Gatsby's warm welcome, attention, and sympathies towards them, but he couldn't find any reason. Nick and Gatsby were also becoming best friends with every passing time. Everything was going smoothly when one day Daisy invited Gatsby to her home for lunch. Nick and Gatsby come for lunch at Daisy's home. Their Jordan Baker was already invited. They all have lunch together. Tom's attitude was showing that he doesn't like Gatsby. He becomes furious when he watches Gatsby speaking with his wife, Daisy. Therefore, Daisy asked him to let us go outside, to keep the atmosphere calm. Tom, Nick and Jordan Baker ride in the car of Gatsby. However, Gatsby and Daisy ride in Tom's car. After their rides, the scene again comes in a sitting room where all the characters are sitting in deep silence. Now Gatsby interrupted all and told Tom about his and Daisy's affair. Daisy wants to reveal this thing by herself, but it was Gatsby who took the turn. Tom becomes frustrated and starts asking Gatsby about his life in Oxford and the military. He asked how he joined the military, how he has become a millionaire. Gatsby becomes hesitant to answer these questions, but Tom was frequently asking him. Further, he revealed to everyone about Gatsby that he is a partner of Mayor Wolfsheim. Tom told Daisy that Gatsby works as a smuggler with Wolfsheim. When Daisy asked Gatsby to tell her the truth, then Gatsby didn't reply because it was true. Daisy runs out of anger and Gatsby also runs towards her. All the other members, Tom, Nick and Jordan Baker, also left. In the next horrible scene, Gatsby's car was running very fast. Both Daisy and Gatsby were in this car when suddenly an insane woman comes in front of their car and gets into an accident. She died. Unfortunately, Gatsby's car didn't stop. At the same moment, Tom, Jordan and Nick also arrived at the place of the accident. They get out of their car to see what has happened. Tom becomes shocked when he witnesses the death of his girlfriend. This dead woman was a wife of a poor mechanic and Tom had an affair with her. Nick also knew about it. He becomes very aggressive and an enemy of Gatsby after this incident. Tom convinced the mechanic that Gatsby has intentionally killed his wife because he knew that his wife was his girlfriend, and he took revenge on him. After listening to this, the mechanic becomes angry and decided to take revenge on Gatsby for his wife's murder. In the next scene, Gatsby dropped Daisy at her home and hides behind the trees. However, when Nick reached there, he catches him and becomes angry. On asking about the accident, Gatsby told him that it was not me, but Daisy, who was driving a car. Therefore, we have to keep it quiet for the life of Daisy. The next day, Gatsby has been seen cleaning his car when Nick comes to him. Now he starts telling Nick a true story of his life. He told Nick about poverty and how he belongs to a very poor family and that he hates himself for being born like this. Therefore, from a very young age, he starts running towards money. He only thinks about money and therefore he left his family and the house at a very young age to earn fortune. One day at the sea, he saved the life of an old man who was drowning in the sea. As a reward, that man keeps Gatsby with him for work and taught him many skills, including how to interact with people and the tips and tricks of the businesses. The old man was very rich and he had connections with wealthy and famous people. But, unfortunately, one day that man died and his family kicked out the Gatsby from their house and the property. Once again, Gatsby becomes poor. That was the time when Gatsby met Wolfsheim and start gambling with him. His mission was to make money only. Gatsby also told Nick that Daisy has promised him that she will leave Tom and comes to him tomorrow. Nick in his heart already knew that Daisy will never come, but he didn't tell Gatsby because he doesn't want to break his heart. The next day, Gatsby starts waiting for Daisy. His attention was only on the phone as he was expecting a phone call from Daisy, but the phone never comes. He starts swimming in front of his house when all of a sudden, someone shoots him with a gun on his chest. The murderer was a mechanic whose wife was put to eternal sleep in an accident. After killing Gatsby, that mechanic also took his own life himself. Now in the last crucial scene, Nick has been seen arranging a funeral of the Gatsby. He called everyone to attend the funeral ceremony of Gatsby. Those once declared themselves his close friends of him. Unfortunately, everyone was excused to come. Nick had last hope left and he called his cousin Daisy to attend the funeral of Gatsby. But she thought her servant also refused and said she is out of town. That was the moment when Nick realized the bitter reality of society. When Gatsby was rich, everyone was his friend, and now because he died, nobody has the time to attend the funeral. People are not your friend, they are the friends of your wealth and fame. Nick's heart was broken, because it was Daisy who was responsible for the murder of Gatsby and she betrayed him. Being an optimist person, Nick becomes a pessimist. He starts hating everyone. In the last scene of the movie, we can observe, Nick is sleeping on the hospital sofa after narrating the story of his life on the papers.